Hi, I'm Sam St. Louis. I am one of the owners at Hive Beauty Lounge, and I'm also a real estate agent with Allied Realty Group in Hartford. So we have been Salon, well, Stephanie and I, my business partner, we'll have her join us eventually too. So we actually opened 7 years ago, I think. Yeah, in 2019. We were on the end building. And then we moved, we're on our year number 4 here up the street. So we got started, honest to God, it was really funny. We got started on a whim. We both worked together at a salon for a couple of years. And then we decided one day we wanted to, let's go look at this building together. Let's go check it out. And we did. Steph said she found it there was a building in Horicon. I'd literally been to Horicon like 2 times before. And then we went to look at it and we said, let's bring our husbands back to check it out and see what they think. And then, yeah, we were like, let's do this. Let's open this salon. No idea what we were doing. Then COVID hit the next year. That was a big one. And then we kind of been rocking and rolling ever since. We decided that we wanted to expand our team, and we knew that where we were at, we couldn't get bigger. So we decided to check out the building up the street. And yeah, so then we opened that following January. I had a baby that year I had a baby. I found out in March that I was going to be having a baby that year. It was funny because we decided we can never open another salon, which when the fire happened, we were like, oh, we literally might have to look at another option for buildings. Like we were looking at other vacant buildings that Horicon had, which it really doesn't have any. And I said, no, I'm serious this time. Like we said we were serious the first time and then we did it again. And now I'm like, no, we're really serious. We're not opening another salon. Because it was funny, the first salon we opened in January. Steph told me in February that she was having her littlest, Hadara, that year. Then we opened January 2023 at the Hive, our new one. And then in March, I told Steph that I was having a baby that year. And now nobody's having any more babies. So we're like, we can't open another salon. But it was just funny how that actually happened. We both had children the first year we opened in our salons. Yeah. So fast forward to today, we have 6 of us there, I think now. Yeah. 4 hairstylists, massage, and a tattoo artist. I think the group of people we have is really, really an interesting one. We all get along. We all vibe together. Hopefully we have another one joining us, but we won't go in too much to that. Yeah. Secrets. No. So yeah, I don't know. I think that we have a good little business down there. And yeah, no matter what, even when real estate completely ends up taking over, which I know it will eventually, I'll still be there. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm never going to stop doing hair. But yeah, so I am excited for that, to see kind of what comes of that. I had my son in October of 23. Had no idea how I was going to navigate being a mom and a business owner, because I thought it's fine. Like, this kid will just go to daycare. Like, it's going to be fine, right? I mean, I can do it all. No. I made my life obviously revolve around his life, which is fine. But then fast forward to, I think it was February, the following February, Stephanie and actually, the day I had him, that like next morning, like middle of the night kind of thing, I remember scrolling on Facebook. It was like 3:00 in the morning. And I see this ridiculous message. No, it wasn't a message. It was like a post of the guy who owned our building at the time. He had this complete like mental breakdown on Facebook. Like, you could tell it was a post of maybe under the influence of something. That he said his buildings and his businesses were going to be up for sale. And I'm like, what? Like, I have one of those buildings. Like, what are you talking about? So I waited till a more appropriate time and I messaged Steph. And I said, what is this? And she goes, well, I didn't want to bother you yesterday, with like having a baby and all, but the landlord is putting the building up for sale. I'm like, okay, whatever. Okay, that's in October. We just kind of left it be. It did go up for sale. We found the listing and stuff. So then fast forward to February, we had this idea one day where I'm like, we should buy this. Like, we have no money. We have no business owning a building at this point, but like we said the same thing. We were going to like open a salon, right? So like we should probably buy this building. So I reached out to Joe, who sold my house at the time when my husband and I sold. And I said, Joe, we want to buy this building. And it was $139,000. And I said, we're going to buy it for $80,000. And he was like, what? And we're like, yeah, we're going to buy it for $80,000. And he's like, so he goes, okay, well, I'll meet you guys up at the salon. And he and our financial advisor, who like they kind of team up and like whatever together, and they came in to talk some sense into us, and they kind of explained like how the numbers would work. And we're like, yeah, we want to buy this for $80,000. We did not care what they were saying. They had no clue what they were saying. So Joe had an offer, so he read through it and we signed. We didn't care. I had like $50,000 cash, and Stephanie was going to finance the rest. And I'm like, okay, here's how this is going to work. We're going to take $40,000 of my cash, and we're going to use, that's my half. Stephanie's going to finance $40,000, and it was going to work. It's fine. This is what we're doing. And Joe was like, well, I think for like 100, like 1 to 120, like I think we can get it done. And I'm like, no, we're buying this for $80,000. 80 grand or nothing. Okay. So that got rejected twice. And he was like, that's fine. Then we walk, and I'm like, so we paid our plumber, who is like a master HVAC plumber and electrician. We paid him to come in and basically do like an inspection, because we figured if we waived like the inspection contingency, that would magically get us $60,000 off the asking price, which it did not. So we're like all bucky. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to get a real estate license, and I'm just going to, because that's just what I'm going to do. Right. So I was like, okay, what am I doing with my life? Like, why am I doing hair? Maybe I'm not happy. So then it like kind of like kicked the plan in motion here. I'm like, okay. So I messaged Joe, and I said, for like the 5th time, I'm like, okay, well, how do I get a real estate license? And he told me, he sent me the things that I needed to do. And he's like, for, couple, whatever, you take this class, you pay like $1,000 and then you're a realtor. I was like, okay. So I'm like, I did not tell anybody, like truthfully did not say a word. I'm like, I'm going to do this. My kid still doesn't sleep at night, but I'm going to get this license, and I'm not going to say anything, because then if I fail, nobody will know. It's fine. So I finished the class, and then I booked my test, but then I'm like, wait a minute. When do you like look for a job in here? Because it's weird with real estate. When you get your brokerage, or, however you say that, you basically have to find the one you want to go to before you take your test, because like after you pass your test, when you send in for your license, you have to be associated with a brokerage, right? So I messaged Joe. I'm like, well, when do you like find a job? And he was like, well, he goes, you can come here to, you can absolutely come to Allied and, this, that, the other thing. Okay, cool. So I was like super excited. And I was sitting there with my husband after I fast forward, I passed my test, whatever, I'm going to be a real estate agent. So I started the process. I started with Allied, and Joe and Linda, God bless their souls, they took me twice a week and showed me how to show houses. And I, just basically, and they took me under their wing. And then Joe actually is a coach with the Locker Room, which is a training program that they have for agents, which quite literally works. I am definitely living, breathing proof that it works. So basically that just kind of kicked it in. And I remember, and I just found this piece of paper the other day on my desk when I was cleaning out, whatever. I told my husband, I said, I'm going to write this down, because I'll remember this if I ever want to quit or whatever. I said, because he did. My husband's always supported everything I wanted to do. And I said, I promise that I'm going to put as much effort into real estate, like honest to God, as much effort as it took that I thought we were getting that building for $80,000, which now, knowing what I know now in real estate, and like I've done, I have transactions under my belt. I've put in lowball offers. Oh my God. Like, I feel so bad for making Joe do that. Like, I really feel bad for him. So we were like, no, we're doing this. Like, you are not going to tell us any different. And literally, I think that will be we have to, note to self, have a salon owner podcast episode, whatever, because the things that we have went through and the stories we have, unreal. Like, you literally won't believe them. So I have tried and true to this day put as much effort into real estate. And I think it's awesome because what I made last year, what I brought in was like unheard of. I did, and it was funny because Joe says, he's like, I tell you to do something and you don't like question it. You just do it. And I'm like, well, yeah, like, you have a successful brokerage. Like, you've been a realtor for X amount of years. If you wanted to open a salon, like, you don't cut hair, you don't do any of it. But if you were going to open a salon, like, I would assume that you would ask, like, my opinion, what would I do, or ask me for guidance, because I know how to do that and you don't. So, like, and it's true. He literally says, do this, 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 and this. And yeah, I will say, I think that I did a one-on-one interview with this guy from the locker room last fall, I think it was. Yeah. And he asked me, he was like, just, tell us about like your experience with like the training and stuff like that. This is crazy because this is and I've done numerous training programs for like salon owners, hairstylists, all the different courses that you can take for different things, business owner, entrepreneur, this, that, the other thing. This is the only course that I've ever taken so you write a letter to your future self, like once you achieve like the goal that you set, right? So then you write a letter to your future self, and like, I'll just use the guys because I really don't remember what mine actually was offhand, but the guy said like he took his daughters to Disney, like, or whatever, some like elaborate like vacation or something like that. Like, I promised that like, we're going to go and take this trip, and we had a blast, blah, blah, blah. All the things that they did when he achieved the goal that he had. But then, so you're like all excited, right? Like, we're going to like take this like elaborate vacation. You're super excited to like achieve this goal. But then on the next page, you write a letter. You have to write an apology letter to yourself. Imagine that you failed, like you give up. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. I'm sick of it. I can't handle the stress, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you're in that mindset. Now from that mindset, you have to write an apology letter to the people who like inspired you in your gratitude letter, or however you say that. I'm sure it's written out in like way simpler form. That alone is like reverse psychology. It's genius, because literally when you think of, and it was crazy, he read his letter out loud and was like, I'm sorry that I am a coward, and because I can't go and cold call, or I can't go knock on someone's door or follow through with like the marketing that I said I was going to, we can't take this trip. Like, now I have to work weekends at said job because I decided to be lazy, basically. So that alone will make you like, I think that's, honest to God, one of the most like accountable I've ever been held, because it is. And I do remember, I don't remember exactly what my letter said, but I remember it was something with my kid and my husband. So it's like, then you have to apologize to them, and it's like a whole thing. So that is hands down probably one of the best training techniques I think anybody can utilize in any aspect of their life. If they want to do, if you want to go open your dream storefront or whatever, just do it. And I think that alone will keep you accountable. So then my first year in real estate was super insane, and I just kind of literally kept running with it. I don't know. I feel like I got lucky, I guess, if you want to say that. But I mean, they were all like my clients that I got, and I got to help, and it was like referral, word of mouth. And it just kind of kept going. And then this year, I definitely learned that last year, the importance of the end of the year keeping flowing for the beginning of this year. However, I didn't plan for the fire to happen. So that was a whole thing at the end of last year, but whatever. So yeah, so that's kind of how real estate started and is going. My goal was to be primarily real estate and part-time the salon. I mean, we have renters, so the salon, I'm not saying it runs itself, but like I don't need to be there 5 days a week. I definitely learned after the fire that I cannot be 100% real estate all the time, specifically because I'm a schedule-based business, right? So like I have my schedule that says I have a haircut at this time, then I have this, that, and the other thing. But when I'm in charge of making the schedule and the time blocks, that does not happen. It just doesn't. I want to do everything all at once. Now I'm like 3 days behind the chair, and then real estate fills in the gaps because it's like, I like to do everything all at once. I like to like not work for 4 months, and then I like to do like 6 months worth of work in like 30 days. That's always a big joke. But yeah, I think splitting my time it's working. I mean, sometimes I think it's really hard to, like I said, based on what's going on in real estate, it's hard to decipher what, I guess, like how to split the time, because I can't just say like 1 week at the salon, like, okay, I work 3 days a week, but now I'm really super busy in real estate, so I'm only going to work 1 day from now on behind the chair. It doesn't really, I guess it'll be a balance that I don't really ever have, but it works for what I have right now. So I think once my child is in school, that'll be a rude awakening, I think, because now, I mean, he's in daycare, so it's kind of like school hours, right? But I still, like, he's not big enough to if he needs to be in the car with me when I go somewhere, he's not big enough to like be in the car for like that long. Like, that's just awful of me. But I think once school starts and I have a really strict schedule, like where daycare, you can alter your hours a little bit, where at school, I can't just be like, I'm going to be late to pick him up at, 5 o'clock. You can't just leave your kid at school that long. But yeah, I think it works for right now. So I think a goal of mine for the salon, I do want to get 1 or 2 more people, I think, like renters, just because I think we always can use more, and we're like the only salon in Horicon. So I don't know. I think just continue to just that business alone continue to grow. But with real estate, a goal for the end of the year is to have have a steady pipeline. I even said this to my broker. I said, I heard, because of course I'm a doom scroller on TikTok and whatever, but sometimes you get really good ideas from that. There was a lady on there. She's like a real estate influencer or something like that. She said, if you've been in real estate for 2 years, if you've been in real estate for at least 2 years and you don't have a consistent pipeline, you don't have a business, that you have a really expensive hobby. I said that to my broker, and he said, that's not true. And I'm like, well, why? And he said, because you constantly have things going on, especially too with having 2 different businesses and a family on top of it. It's there, the pipeline is there, but it just has to be more structured, like you said, so structured. So I think, yes, that is a goal for that, just to be more structured and kind of keep up. Hopefully we don't have any fires or anything. That was the craziest thing too. I would never wish that on anybody. And I bartended for many, many years in good old Wisconsin. Never in my life. And I have seen it all. You literally cannot shock me. That will shock anybody. Never in my life have I been I am so pissed off. I'm going to go start that building on fire. We always joke, right? Forget it. Let's just burn the place down and start over. We can't even joke like that anymore. We cannot joke about anything with fires. Nothing. No. And it was funny because we're could you have at least tried to burn the place down in January, where we have the slow time of year? You had to do it right before Christmas. Yeah. So yeah, goals. Let's make it through the holiday season this year with no fires. It's just forever going to be a running joke, because I guess if we can't laugh about it, we'll probably cry about it. So thanks for joining me today. I'm Sam with Hive Beauty Lounge and Allied Realty Group. We'll see you next time.